first of all, thank you for doing a losers interview. Not many people do, and we definitely appreciate it. I'm gonna kind of get out the game first and just talk about you real quick, because obviously this is a big change for you. I've never seen you play on a different team. You know, you've always been Fish 123 into Liquid, and you've been there since the beginning of time. So how's it been? What's it been like to play on a different team? How different is this to the Liquid experience?
It's for me, like, it feels so. It's like completely different. It's like playing a different game almost. Like I, it's like a lot of small things that like is so weird to me. It's like, especially when I first started playing with like Acend and stuff. It's like learning everyone's voices, learning everyone's call outs, learning everyone's like play styles and stuff like that. Like all of that stuff's so like alien because I've played with Liquid my entire time.
Yeah.
Like literally all of like for 2 years now. Well, obviously until like June, it was just liquid all the way through the same sort of people, like chop and change a couple. So yeah, I don't know. For me, it's been such a weird experience.
Has it been nice, do you think, for like a change of scenery? And obviously the playstyle of Ascend and the protocol it feels like really different from Liquid, right?
Yeah, it's like obviously in Liquid not having it, in a way it's similar in the terms of like maybe not having that designated IGL in Liquid, and then coming over now and StarXO is doing that job, and he's not a born and bred IGL. It's kind of similar in that sense, but then the actual, like you said, like the way we play, sort of like the way everyone talks, the IGLing in itself is just it's different, and I really enjoy it. Like I feel like this is something that I needed, obviously, hence why the whole thing happened. So yeah, I think it was something that I kind of thought was like necessary.
I gotta say, some people in my chat were telling me how one of the things that you said that kind of drove you into leaving Liquid, not the sole reason, but one of the reasons is you weren't super happy with the role, playing smokes and so on. So I was a little bit surprised to see you playing on the smokes today for Ascend. So yeah, what's happening? How come you're back on the smoker
This
role?
was the thing. It's like a lot of people would say like, oh yeah, it was I said like the smokes and stuff. But if you watched my part, like obviously no one knows practice, no one knows what we're doing day in day out. But I was actually just perma breach. The only thing I played was breach. Like when I played on Liquid, like when we was having I don't think. Actually, I'm not sure what I can and can't say, but in that period where we had the coach that no one knew and stuff like that. Like during that period, I played Breach all 7 maps, except for maybe one. Maybe I might have been on Brimstone or something. But yeah, all 7 maps playing strictly the same way every single map, which in my terms is like Breach stun out for a minute. If no one pushes in that minute, you then rotate, die on the retakes most of the time. It's like it was such a one way style of playing that we was being slowly pushed into, and it really like sort of not made me like super not happy. Obviously I ended up not being happy with that. I don't mind playing Breach, in a certain play style in a certain way, but even playing that sort of style, sat in the spawn for a minute straight, not having the right fundamentals like the way we were playing added on top. So yeah, it was just really like a unpleasant experience for me at the time. But actually playing smokes, obviously I played smokes my entire, you know, practically my entire thing now since way back when I played Sage, and that was ages ago. Like we're talking beta. Ever since past that, it was mainly smokers and stuff. So I don't have a problem playing it. It's just really dependent on the style, the because you get like you don't always have freedom. It's like a big thing. It's like, I'm not trying to say I can't play structured if necessary, but when you don't have an IGL, when everything's flying up in the air all the time, so you're not even playing structured, but you're being forced to play a structured way. It's very like
monotonous.
yeah, it's so difficult. Like it's so hard to try and explain it. It's such a sticky, I feel like, one team situation that unfortunately happened because of the roles, the player, everything just accumulated into one.
Yeah,
I
I
feel like
mean,
it's such a difficult thing.
definitely not an easy decision for you, of course, like for any player to remove themselves from any roster because it is your career, you know, it's your
Yeah,
livelihood.
exactly.
So it must have been like really difficult for you to do that. Just to clarify though, it wasn't Emil, was it, the coach that you spoke of? It's not. Obviously,
No,
people are going to think it's
it was
Emil.
not. It
Okay.
was not. It was not a mill.
Okay.
He, from what the sounds of, sounds like a great step for that team, and I'm really happy that they got that. That's who they got.
Mm. I do want to ask about the game now for today.
Yeah.
After map one, it was looking pretty good for you guys. You know, even map two, here and there, things kind of could have definitely gone your way. But what happened on Fracture? So what was going on? It felt like Nats was kind of just running at you, and you couldn't stop
Nat,
him.
Nat's had his way. Like he couldn't be stopped. So
Yeah.
I think like an actual term is maybe maybe not just Nats had 40 kills, but like like in actual sort of breakdown. I feel like they were like, first of all, it's a comp that we're actually not used to playing. It's so difficult. You practice all the time, all the time, all the time against the same comps. Not because of yourself. Like your team, your enemies play the same comps, and
Hmm.
then you play something that you don't usually play against. It's so hard to like try and you know figure out and adapt on the fly. These sort of things. Um, but yeah, I feel like it was a very hard game to just try and like you win, like we won like a round at the start or something, and we win a round and they're just straight back on you. They're set plays. They've got like Nats also, of course, having like, I want to say a life game, but it's
Yeah.
Nats at the same time. The guy's incredible, so sometimes the normal. But yeah, I don't know. It's really difficult to just like try and get our foot through the door. It's like every time we get there, it's just like we just get slapped again. Like it was so difficult to try and build momentum.
Mm. And lastly, before I let you go, obviously, the situation we understand of your involvement into Ascend is you're subbing in here, you're going to see how far you can go for LCQ. And of course, if you qualify for champions, I assume you're going to be going with them. But
Yeah.
what's next after that? What's your plan? What is going on? How much information do you know about what's happening next year? What are your kind of goals?
Well, obviously, I also don't really have as much information as many people think for a player about next year. Like it's a pretty I don't want to say scary time, but it kind of is for like like you just said in the other questions. It's a career. It's like a real serious career, and not knowing what's going to happen next year is very daunting.
Hmm.
But yeah, for me anyway, obviously leaving the scared part aside, obviously I want to be able to compete all next year with the right team. And obviously, yeah, like you said, I'm playing with Ascend for last chance qualifier, and then when we qualify for champions, because we playing at champions, you know. And yeah, after that, stuff will happen. I can't speak too much on obviously certain anything to do with like contracts or anything, stuff to do with that. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to be back on the server for next year in the franchise and league and stuff like that.
All right, thank you so much for your time, bro. Condolences for what happened today, but we'll see you against G2. And I don't know if you know this, but Ascend have never lost to G2 ever before.
Well,
So
let's keep that streak going, because I'm gonna look like the reason. I'm gonna be the reason we fucking lose. Oh
nah,
no!
you'll be all right. You'll be all right.
All right,
Thank you so much for your time, bro. I'll catch you on
all right,
stream next time.
all right, no problem.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Have a good one.